Greetings, it is I, Tantus Naraban Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's time to continue our discussion on anime from the winter 2016 season. I have just gone over a review of them in the last episode. In this one, I'm going to talk about using them in your BESM game, of course. So let's just dive right into it. Let's start with Saijaku Muhai no Bahamut. Now for this one, I would give your characters 400 points. They're going to be pretty powerful with their drag armor, and they're going to mostly design that. That's going to be the big function of a lot of their points that they're taking up, is this armor and the weapons and abilities it has. And you can see from the anime that they all have very unique abilities and powers, so maybe make your characters be a little more than your average ones, so maybe they're not going to be just using things like the basic model Reverns. Maybe they all do have divine drag armors. That would be fine to do, and that's what you're sort of giving them these points for. They're making them unique characters. Now you're going to set them, of course, in a school setting, in one of these drag rider schools. The anime gives the example of the girls' school, which I'm not sure if there is others. They don't really talk about many of the other schools that are out there. You could use that, have all your people be girl characters. You could, of course, have someone like Lux, so there's maybe an exception or two. That could be a male character as part of your group. You could, of course, then change the school setting, but this is up to you because you're going to have to do a little more basic designs yourself. They already have the design of the girls' school here. Making up like a boys' school or a mixed-gender school. Both are the options for you, but it is up to you to make them up because there are male drag riders out there. There are plenty. Lux isn't the only one. It's just they don't show off a lot of those other sort of groups and schools. So once you've sort of gotten your setting down and you've gotten what your people are as drag riders, you're going to have them basically go through like some class-based stuff. It's going to be more like maybe like exams using the drag riders, you know, sort of combat exams, maybe tournaments, duels, maybe fighting abyssal dragons or other monsters, exploring ruins, diving deep into those. You know, going on other little missions maybe nearby, like going on training missions to places. All these sort of things are good examples of little adventures you can put together for your characters to do. And you could just keep going through them, because the anime series goes through a whole bunch of things like this. You just, you know, run through them and have your characters go as far as you want them to. So let's talk about the next one, Akagami no Shirayukihime. For this one, I would sort of, you could focus around. For this one, I give your characters 200 points to work with. Now, you could focus around Clarence's Kingdom, Tabletop Kingdom, any kingdom you want, but I would focus around a kingdom and make your people members of the sort of royal court or the head castle, you know. You could make them that one of a person might be a prince, one person could be a princess, one person be a prince or a princess, one person could be an herbalist, one person could be some kind of bodyguard, one could become kind of spy type character, a guard type character, a soldier type character. There are so many roles that you could sort of take up here, like a sage person, someone that would be more like a thief or something, for whatever reason, that would be part of the castle. And you sort of make a group of characters that work together for various things related to the castle. Now, each of them, depending on the roles you choose, could have their own missions they're bringing in. Like if one of them is the herbalist, you could have that herbalist character be the person who the mission or whatever adventure they're going on centers around. Like you have a Shirayuki-like character that maybe has to go retrieve certain plants from this dangerous area. All of them would sort of accompany them on this mission for whatever reason. You sort of come up with reasons for them to work together to go on these things. It could be also dangers in various parts of the kingdom, like helping to secure areas. Like maybe there's an accident in some place and you have, like in a fortress, like some kind of natural disaster you have to help in, or a plague. Maybe you have to go negotiate with certain members of the far reaches of the kingdom. Maybe you have to go to a certain village and help out with something. You know, things like this. There's wide variety of little sort of low fantasy adventures they can go on. They're not going to be fighting like huge monsters or stuff. They're going to deal with other people mainly, but they might have to deal with bandits. They might have to deal with pirates. They might have to explore some kind of old ruins. They might have to climb a mountain. They might have to, you know, deal with some kind of problem going on in town. You could do things like that. You could do things like a murder mystery even very easily, that you could have them in a town for some other mystery, for some other simple mission, and a murder happens that they have to get involved in and help solve because of whatever reason. Now this, of course, is going to be a very laid-back sort of game. You're going to try not to have it very intense, action-heavy, you know, as much as possible. You have a little bit of action, but you're going to try to have it more a relaxing sort of situation. And you're going to want your characters to sort of bud in romance in a way. Now, they can have the choice of having romance in amongst each other. That's completely fine. Or you could have them each sort of come up with an NPC they might have for romantic situations. That maybe this NPC that you would design then could be added in various points in time. It's going to be completely up to you and your players how you balance that out. But I would add in some of that so that each character could have these little romantic encounters, you know, that they can describe some sort of encounter they want to go on. Or like the two players together could decide to do something together. You know, and foster that, because it is a romance anime. It's good to have that little romantic element and to foster and use it in things. So you could have like a session where part of it, or maybe all of it, would be like each of the characters going on little dates or something on their own and describing what they're doing for that. And maybe they have to do some kinds of checks or something. Maybe they don't. You can kind of feel it out as needed. And the last one I want to talk about is, of course, Teekyu. You're going to give them 120 points for your characters. It's going to be a comedy game. You could definitely focus it around like a school club, like the tennis club. That makes it easy for excuse to have like all your characters grouped together. They'll be like high school students. And have each of them build their characters with kind of interesting quirks, make them eccentric, and sort of then build the game around those quirks. This one I would build it around it, because the whatever club they're in is not going to be important. That's going to be sort of the reasoning for them to be together. The importance is going to be you're going to put them in strange and interesting situations, quirky situations, and then their quirks are going to feed off of it. So don't try to write out this game too much. Come up with little settings or sort of little adventures kind of things that you can come together with, and then put these characters in, and you can see where they can build the sort of comedy to it. You are going to have to control the group, though. You don't want to get too out of control, too ridiculous, too silly, but you can come up with some very funny, silly kind of things. Like, you could have your eccentric group of characters run into a space alien who wants a tour of the town, and has a number of places they want to visit, and then you could have this random space alien be taken around town by them, and each of these locations could be like a scene you're setting up for some kind of comedy or something. And this could be an entire setting, or an entire session. Or you could make it that, you know, you have a couple little settings, like something, like, you know, some kind of something happens in a location, that something happens that's funny, and then you move on from that, and it's not related together, and you can sort of string those together to come up with a session. So that's it for today. I've talked about these 3 anime and using them in your BESM games. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like this video if you enjoyed. Great way of showing your support for the channel and the Empire. Please subscribe if you already haven't. It's another way of showing your support. And we're always looking for more members, more citizens of the Empire. And please share this video. If you know anybody that would enjoy watching it or learn something from it, please share it with them. And until next time, I bid you farewell.